Hey guys, Gary here again from the Aromatherapy blog. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a different recipe of homemade deodorant that you can actually put into one of these empty deodorant containers. Now you can also use deodorant containers that you have used at home and after they're empty you've saved them. So this deodorant is a little bit different because it's a little thicker. It uses shea butter and coconut oil instead of just using coconut oil. And so we're going to get started here and get this made and show you how it works. Okay, so this recipe is a little more involved because it does use a double boiler to melt the coconut oil and the shea butter. But what I've done is I've repurposed a mason jar here. And this is what I use to melt all my stuff when I'm making this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 6 tablespoons of shea butter. Now what I do is put the shea butter into the double boiler first because it will take a little longer to melt than the cocoa butter, or the coconut oil, I'm sorry. So what you want to do is press it right in there, make sure, and then you're going to put it into the jar. The shea butter is good for your skin, so it doesn't matter if you get it on your fingers. Okay, so you can see what I've done here is basically I just put the shea butter into the mason jar, and now I've got basically a homemade double boiler. Nothing fancy, doesn't have to be fancy. You just don't want to put this directly on heat and burn the ingredients. So the shea butter will melt really slow here. It's a gentle melting. You don't want to get it too hot. And then, like I said, you want to wait to put the coconut oil in there because the coconut oil will melt really quickly. It's solid at 76 degrees or below. So at room temperature it's solid, but as soon as you drop it in here it's going to melt. And then it takes a while for the shea butter to melt, so you may overheat the coconut oil. So shea butter first, let it melt. When it's getting good and almost melted, then just go ahead and add the coconut oil, which we'll do in just a minute. And that's all there is to it. Really simple, homemade double boiler. Now what I use to stir this while it's melting is just a shish kebab skewer. So all this stuff is really kind of homemade, put together. Okay, so now we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of coconut oil. And this won't take long to melt at all. Alright, there's our 6 tablespoons of coconut oil. And it is almost melted. And while that finishes melting up, we're going to mix up our dry ingredients. Okay, so our 2 dry ingredients, we're going to mix those up real quick. And I'm going to do that in a measuring cup because it makes it easier to pour it into these little deodorant sticks. So what we're going to do, we just use baking soda and arrowroot powder. So, 1/4 cup of baking soda. 1/4 cup of arrowroot powder. And then we're going to stir that really well. And then we'll be ready to add the wet ingredients and the essential oils. Okay, so as you can see we have our dry ingredients and I've got my oil here that's melted. I've taken it out of the double boiler and now we're going to add this oil and mix it in. Whisk it in real good. This is our deodorant. Now we're going to let that dry I'm sorry, not dry, but we're going to let that cool just a little bit before we add the essential oils because they're volatile and we don't want the heat to boil them away, so we're going to leave that for just a few minutes. Let it start kind of, you want it to make sure that it doesn't set up in there, because then you won't be able to pour it into your deodorant sticks. So it's a little bit of a balancing act, but it's pretty easy. You can touch it and see when it's starting to cool down, and it's getting pretty close. It's not really hot right now. Okay, so we've let the mixture cool off now, and we're ready to put in our essential oils. So the first one we're going to use is our tea tree essential oil. This is one of the oils that we sell in our shop. This tea tree oil, we use it for the antimicrobial properties, so it'll kill the bacteria on your skin and keep them from causing odor. So we're going to put in 10 drops of tea tree. And we're going to mix that in real good. Then we're going to put in 10 drops of the rosemary. Same thing, it's antimicrobial, so it helps kill the bacteria on your skin. We sell that in our shop too. So between those two essential oils, that should kill most of the bacteria on your skin. The baking soda also raises the pH of your skin, so it helps kill the bacteria too. And there's our last step. We're going to put in the fragrance oil. And what I'm using here is vanilla, and that way it's a unisex oil. It's a unisex deodorant that you can use for either sex. We're going to put in 25 drops of this vanilla fragrance. That makes it smell really good. Then we're going to mix it in and pour it into our deodorant sticks. And then we're just going to set those aside, and once they cool, they'll harden up. Alright, so there you have it. We've made 12 deodorant sticks. We're going to let them set up, and whatever's left over, I put into little small jars that you can use. So we'll put the rest of it in there. Alright, now I'm going to pour the rest of it into this jar here. And you can use this, you can just use your finger and take out what you need and use it. And that way we don't waste any. And you can see it's kind of hardened up already on the bottom as it cooled. But you know the great thing about this? You can put this back in your hot water for just a second and reheat it, and then you can pour it into the jar. Alright, so there you have it. We've made 12 sticks of deodorant, and we've got a 4-ounce jar that's just almost full with what was left over after we filled all our deodorant sticks. So I know this one's a little bit more involved than the other one that we made in the other video on deodorant. However, the good thing about this one is you can actually put it in sticks, and it doesn't have the coconut oil, as much coconut oil, so it's not as runny and it won't run out of the sticks. This will stay hard with the shea butter in it. So it makes it great. You don't have to worry about throwing it in your suitcase if you were traveling or something, because it's not going to melt like the coconut butter will. We appreciate you watching the video, and We'll see you in the next one.